السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. طلاب المرحلة الرابعة قسم اللغة الإنجليزية، نرحب بكم أجمل الترحيب. محاضرة مادة الشعر للفصل الثاني. اليوم عندنا قصيدة جديدة بعنوان Love Song of G. Alfred Prufrock، كتبت من قبل T.S.Eliot، شاعر أمريكي T.S.Eliot مشهور. هاي القصيدة نوعا ما طويلة، راح تكون عبارة عن جزئين. راح نقرأ أول جزء وبعدين نكمل الجزء الثاني ونشرحه. نقرأ بداية القصيدة. Let us go then, you and I, when the evening is spread out against the sky, like a patient etherized upon a table. Let us go through certain half-deserted streets, the muttering retreats of restless nights, in one-night cheap hotels and sawdust restaurants with oyster shells, streets that follow like a tedious argument of insidious intent to lead you to an overwhelming question. Oh, do not ask. What is this? Let us go and make our visit. هاي الستانزا الأولى راح نشرحها. هنا الكلام it's a conversation, as if a conversation between two characters. Apparently it's between two characters, but actually it is just like the conversation inside what he called the speaker himself, as if his mind is our stage. هذا النوع من أنواع الشعر بسهولة dramatic monologue. نبدأ يتكلم الشاعر بينه وبين نفسه, as if he's talking to his mind. He's not talking actually to somebody. The speaker invites, let's say, his other half of self, the listener, let's say, to walk with him into the streets on an evening. يعني كلمة دي يدعو إنه يتمشى في شوارع هذه مدينة معينة. On an evening, that evening is just like a patient anesthetized with ether. يشبهها هذا المساء كأنما واحد مريض ومرقى على الثدية مخدر anesthetized with ether. شوف هاي a patient etherized upon a table. etherized هي مادة من المواد اللي تستخدم يعني للتخدير. يبين انه كأنما الشخص هذا يعني مخدر, كأنما يعني منتهي مثل ما نقول. Resembles a patient anesthetized with ether lying on a table of a hospital operating room. The imagery suggests that the evening now هو اللي يتكلم في حالة المساء. The evening here is just like a lifeless, listless things. You know, the speaker and the listener will walk through lonely streets. راح يمشون كأنهم في مناطق يعني في شوارع كلها مهجورة, مناطق كلها يعني منتهية, so that the listener will walk through lonely streets, and the business day, as if the business day has ended, because this is the evening. We are not talking about the morning days, we're talking about the evening days. And they are going to go through cheap hotels and restaurants. You see, cheap hotels, one night cheap hotels, and they are going to see sawdust restaurants on the floors. يعني معناتها هذه المطاعم متروكة, الأماكن هذه كلها متروكة, sawdust restaurants on the floors. The shabby establishments will remind the speaker of his own shortcomings. When they are going to visit these places, and they are walking to these places, you see these establishments are shabby and they are torn apart, and they will remind the speaker of his own shortcomings, of his drawbacks. So the images remaining in his mind as he walks on. يعني هاي الصور المباني المتهدمة المنتهية كأنما هي تذكر الشاعر أو speaker himself of his own condition, because it's, as we said earlier, he's just like a patient on a table. And they will then prompt the listener to ask the speaker a question. The listener will ask the speaker a question about the speaker's life, perhaps why he should see or visit such seedy, cheapy, for example, establishments, which are in fact the symbols of his life. So why he has not acted, for example, to better himself or to take a wife, for example, or to do something. So this is the kind of question, to lead you to an overwhelming question. Oh, do not ask what is this. Do not ask me why should I go into these half deserted places. You see. ننتقل للستانزا الثانية اللي هي two lines. هي عبارة عن two lines، هاي يصحوا لها رفرين. والرفرين هي كل جمل أو عبارات اللي هي دائما تتكرر نهاية كل ستانزا، أو نهاية كل two stanza يتكرر، اللي هي هنا in the room كأنما يعني دخل يعني يدخل فسمع in the room women come and go talking of Michelangelo in the room the women come and go talking of Michelangelo, as if he's entering a kind of social gathering in a room, and women discuss the greatest Renaissance artist مايكل هو واحد من أهم الارتست في فترة عصر النهضة. Renaissance artist. He was a sculptor, he was a painter, he was an architect, one of the greatest artists in history. He's the one who is famous for his famous sculpture of David for Duomo Cathedral in Florence. هذا واحد من البنايات المهمة اللي هو نحتها. Prufrock, this is our character, our speaker's name is Prufrock. Prufrock may wonder how they could possibly be interested in him when they are discussing someone as illustrious and famous as Michelangelo. كأنما هو يقول شلون يعني النساء يهتمن بيه في حين انه يتكلم على شخص مثل مايكلانجلو المشهور. شلون شخص مشهور وكبير وعنده شهرة كبيرة يجون يتكلمون ويا شخص بسيط مثل مايكلانجلو، مثل بروفروك. you see. فدخل شاف let's say a kind of gathering, social gathering of women, and he just heard by. نكمل اللي بعدها stanza 3. The yellow fog that wraps its back upon the window panes, the yellow smoke that wraps its muzzle on the window panes, licked its tongue into the corners of evening, lingered upon the pools that stand in the drains, let fall upon its back the soot that falls from chimneys, slipped by the terrace, made a sudden leap, and seeing that it was a soft October night, curled once upon the house and fell asleep. Stanza 3, you see that the speaker is talking about a certain smog or certain, let's say, hazy, meaning hazy or haze, that's spreading across. This kind of smog is just spreading across the states, across the country, across the city. لكن هذا حركة الدخان اللي يوصفها هنا في a kind of imagery or a kind of personification. شوف هنا the yellow fog that wraps its back upon the window panes, the yellow smoke that wraps its muzzle on the window panes. كأنما هنا يشير في الإشارة إلى حركة what they call a cat. what's mean a cat is هنا يفكر إنه شلون هذا الفوق الضباب والدخان شلون هنا شوف الضباب هنا كأنما يحك ظهره على الإطار الخاص بالويندو الشباك. The yellow fog that wraps its back upon the window panes, the yellow smoke that wraps its muzzle الخشن يعني نقول خشن its muzzles upon the window panes. فهنا نقطع بالصفات personification of a human being. The smoke haze spreads across the city. The haze is like a quiet, and that smoke is just like a quiet, timid cat padding to and from, rubbing its head and its back on objects, licking its tongue. You see, lick its tongue and curling up to sleep, and after a long suit to fall upon it. The speaker resembles the cat as he looks into windows and into the room, trying to decide whether to enter or become a part of activity. هذا الوصف إنه واحد يقول شنو ليش يوصف في شيء إنه الدخان كان يمثله مثل البزونة اللي تحط ظهرها بإطار الشباك إلى آخره. هو مثل هي صفة أو حركة نفس اللي يشبهها بالسبيكر. إنه هذا السبيكر اللي هو بروفروك أو السبيكر بروفروك اللي يدخل let's say certain room. He's just like this cat. He wants to go in, but he cannot. He just try to wraps his back upon certain window panes and الآخر. So he's just like a cat as he looks into windows, as he looks into the room, trying to decide whether to enter or become a part of activity. Which room? This room, the room where there are women. Eventually he curls up in the safety and security of his soft arms. بالأخير يرجع. Lastly, Maidful, he curls back, he goes back in the safety and security of his own soft arms, alone and separate. What this stanza means is that the Prufrock feels inferior. يحس دونية. inferiority لما نسميها دونية، يعني ما هو يحس بالقصر، ما يشوف نفسه مثل باقي مستويات الناس. He's unable to act decisively. He consigns himself to corners as a timid person. He puts himself into a corner and he stands idly doing nothing as stagnant pool, as a stagnant swamp. See, so when he wants to come into this room in which there are women talking about Michelangelo, he just puts in his nose and he wants to for example to open it, but he can't. So he killed once. You see here, killed once about the house and fall asleep. رجع لا تدخل لك رجع تتراجع هنا.